All right, welcome back to Nowhere Nichols. My content's for educational purposes only. Can't stress enough for you guys to do your own research. Praise my content. Throw any errors you find in the comments. None of us have been alive long enough to know all that transpired in the past, and none of us can live long enough to know all there is to learn. All right, tonight's video is going to be about freedom. Not the kind of freedom you automatically probably thought about. I'm talking about the kind of freedom that can't be taken, that can't be compromised, that cannot be altered. Well, what kind of freedom are you talking about, Lee? Let me get into it. A lot of levels to freedom. One of course is, being physically bound or encumbered. Like so many of our ancestors have suffered in the past, not having the liberty to choose whether to do this or that, being compelled by force, threat of force or otherwise, to do what someone outside of yourself is directing you to do. Someone outside of you enforcing their will upon you. Pardon me for a second. Then, of course, there's the freedom that I decided to come on here and talk to you guys about tonight. And that is the inner freedom. The freedom that will allow one to live his or her life irrespective of the way he or she may be perceived as a result. So I'm going to start this talk off with a question. Why are you not free? And if anybody watching this video right now is free, then congratulations. Hat off to you. I know it wasn't easy, but you there. So, if you don't want to hear what's about to be dispensed, then, holler at you later. But for those who fit the question, why aren't you free? Then first, I want you to analyze that within yourself, for yourself. Why is it that you are allowing yourself to be caged behind the bars of other people's perception, other people's feelings or words relative to how you choose to live your life and the things that you do in your life? And the answers to those questions, excuse me, the answers to those questions may run deeper than you think. Firstly, man, I need to touch on the fact that from the time we come out the womb, we are literally programmed. This is good. That's bad. This is true. This is false. Um, do this. Don't do that. And then, of course, we have the television. You know. Then, of course, we have our surroundings, the actions that we are readily able to observe in our environment. So, based upon those variables, we have all been shaped and molded accordingly. One more time, y'all, I gotta clear myself up. Okay. So back to the original question, why aren't you free? And why do you consent to being caged behind the bars of perception? Another word is opinion. There's a few reasons for that. A lot of us, came up in single parent households, even for those of us that didn't. All of us didn't receive whatever the textbook rearing is, where one or both of your parents or whoever was the guardian over you was totally understanding. Second of all, knew themselves and had, emotional intelligence and had woken up to who they are. Also, had adequate life experiences in order to be ready for the task of parenthood and or guardianship. As a result of the contrary, trauma is introduced. And when trauma is introduced, we tend to erect defense mechanisms. This is nothing new to anybody who watches my channel. But it is necessary for me to reiterate for those who may not watch the channel. Your adulthood, or how you carry about as an adult, young adult, or full-grown adult, is largely shaped by your upbringing in your childhood. The problem that we face, I say we, even though I may not be where some of you are and vice versa, is because, the problem we face is all of us don't take responsibility to, nor do all of us know how to remedy said trauma, heal ourselves, forgive those who have wronged us, with the understanding that we're doing it for us, not them. Also, in order for us to put that emotional baggage and trauma down, in order to move forward in our lives, not being weighed down and holding that disdain in our heart, which if we don't directly deal with that either within and amongst ourselves or with the individual who perpetrated said trauma or caused you to erect said defense mechanisms. So as a result, we go on throughout life, and those things that we're not even cognizant of, they've actually cut us deep. Nobody's, well, I ain't gonna say nobody, but hardly anybody is real anymore, to the point where as though they will forego, the reluctance of being openly honest with the way they feel, their emotions. That's a trigger word, because a lot of us don't have them nowadays. But the psychology of it speaks to the contrary. Actually, anybody who is a psychological practitioner or is well versed in any form of human psychology, the signs are all visible. They're transparent even. This is why a lot of times, if any of you guys have ever sat with a therapist, the first thing they'll ask you is, tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell me about your childhood and bring me up to now. Best way you know how, best way you can. Because in doing so, and they'll ask you to be honest as well. I forgot to mention that. Because in being honest, they get you to the point where as though you release the tension on your defenses and also have you to a point or at a point where as though you feel safe discarding the things that weigh you down. When you tell that story, you will let that psychologist know everything that they need to know to properly diagnose and assess you. Thing is, man, we have the ability, if we're strong enough, to do so ourselves. A lot of people run from difficulty, but some difficulties in life you absolutely have to charge at whatever pace is comfortable for you. But this is just one of the reasons why some of us choose to stay behind the cages or the metal bars of others' perception and opinions of us. It's also the reason why some of us have those self-talks on mute that only we can hear. Well, I ain't really with this, but if I don't do this, then they going, I'll be the attention will be on me. In order for me to be accepted, I need to carry about like this or like that. The problem with that is you take yourself further and further away from who you actually are at your core. And that in and of itself creates issues. It may take time for those issues to come to the forefront, whereas though they present a problem for you, but eventually they will. So, okay, that's one reason. Another reason reason is some of us, are extremely preoccupied with how others view us, as opposed to knowing personally who and what we are and what's going on with us, and not really caring what the outward perception or opinion is of what's true and authentic in and about us. A few problems with that. One mainly is self-esteem, because if you care more so what others think about you, then you actually, living your life to make yourself happy, or to be content within self and being authentic with and to self. It's also, what was I about to say? Self-esteem. But another thing is, if you allow yourself to fall into that mode of operating, then you're not living for yourself. You're living more so for those who outwardly project a perception or an opinion of you. And as a result, you grow more and more unhappy because you've given your power away, first of all. Because if one is in that position, whereas though they are living for others to garner the validation or the acceptance or the proper perception and or opinion of others, then you just said fuck yourself. I care more about what they say, think, feel than I care about myself. And I guess that could also tie into why so many women are getting these operations nowadays. And that's a whole nother ball game. At the end of the day, man, it's your money, it's your body, do you. But in being honest, it teeters the line, if not stampedes the line of the way people see themselves. And I think that that's a big problem for us today. And the whole point of me mentioning that is, part of, freeing yourself is being perfectly all right with what you've been given from birth, who you are, how you are, falling in love with who that is, the good, bad, ugly, flaws, shortcomings, all of that. Because, at the end of the day, looks are going to fade. It's just the natural cycle of evolution. If you want to lessen the effects of, living life, then, you can. It's all about, what you put in your mouth. But again, back to the point, you know, as the days go on, you know, looks will fade, looks will change. You know, skin will loosen up. You know, changes will begin to occur. But the issue I see is that we tend to put more of a priority on the shell, the avatar, the rental car, as I like to term it, more so than we put into who we really are, which is hidden by the actual avatar. Because, as I've said many times before, and as many of the scholars have said, it's not what you see in the mirror. It's what's behind what you see in the mirror that is the true you. You know, quantum physics, all kinds of different sciences of the day have proven what I say to be correct. Whether we want to acknowledge that fact or not, is on each and every individual with the free will we were all bestowed. Getting back on task and subject, though, that is yet another one of the reasons why some of us are not free. So, okay, to backtrack, you have the traumas from childhood and your upbringing, left unresolved within you. Then you have those preoccupied with presentation. I think we've suffered the results of unrealistic expectations, whereas we want to appear perfect as opposed to just being with what is. Actually, another way I could say it is surrendering to what is. Again, I've said it in previous videos, man. My observation, because I'm a people watcher. I've been watching people since I was a child. All throughout my street years and my penitentiary years, I've always been a people watcher. And I've kind of mastered the art of reading people based off what they convey, verbally or non-verbally. And what I see is, and I also compare and contrast that with my own experiences in life, because everything I'm talking to you guys about right now, I've been through. I'm at a place today where as though I'm supremely confident in who and what I am. Not perfect, not better, just different. But I am supremely confident in who and what I am and my capabilities. And it took a long time for me to get to this place. Because I used to be, insecure. I used to have low self-esteem. I've suffered trauma, as a lot of you know, in my upbringing, in my childhood. You know, in as self-conscious as I've always been, I realized one day that I had to deal with that because I didn't like how it felt for me to put on no air or no facade for people that showed me time and time again that they didn't give a fuck about me, you know. So, I mean, it got to a point where it was a little deeper, a lot deeper than that, as far as the reasons why. However, to say the least, I've been there, and I can relate directly. But what I can tell y'all is, you know, when I went through the process of dealing with my own shit, you know, looking myself in the mirror and dealing with what was there in an honest, unbiased fashion. And I started to, you know, pull that jackhammer out and chip away, you know, all those, you know, built-on defense mechanisms that was clinging, you know, to the core of who I was, effectively masking who I was, or who I am. You know, just like they always say, man, you know, nothing just comes to you in life. Everything has a sacrifice that must be made. And, you know, tempering the ego is one of the things that comes along with that. Really growing up emotionally, you know, as well as psychologically, or a couple other things that come along with that. But the main thing that comes with that is self-love. You know, a lot of us, you know, be the first ones to say, well, I love myself. Okay, well, this ain't for me to say. But if you're watching this video, ask yourself, analyze it for yourself. Does your actions match your words? You know? And what I mean by that is if you find through your analyzation of self, if you find that you betray yourself for the sake of others, accepting for the sake of others' exception of you, you know, or for the sake of a less than desired opinion or perception of you, then nah. You may have love for yourself, but you ain't there yet. You know. Keep in mind, the hardest task you gonna ever have in life is to find yourself after the way each and every one of us on an individual level has lived, packing on defense mechanisms, hiding from the truth and the reality of who we are, what we like, dislike, love, and hate. There's duality in everything. You know, so then, you know, we have to develop, what is the word? I can't think of the word right now, but it's basically to describe the word that I'm trying to convey to y'all is to be able to make proper decisions based off the data presented, which you are readily able to visually and or audibly observe. I still can't think of the word. Hopefully it'll come to me before this video's over. But it's a lot of work, man, to deal with the cathartic issues that we all have. You know, I like to say that there is no harder task in this life than to master oneself and conquer your demons. To actually do what is best for you, regardless of the opinions, ideas, and perception of others, even loved ones. Because they live in their life. You can't live their life for them. They can't live your life for you. You know? And this all deals with putting childish shit aside, y'all. You know, we all, you know, a lot of us are at the age where as though childhood should be a thing of the past, you know, and if it's not, you know, it just, you know, it's never too late to start. All that, well, this is just who I am. This is how I am, and I'm, you know, like it or leave it alone. Okay, that's fine. You know, but at the end of the day, man, you got to live with yourself. You got to sit with yourself. You know, it's just like, you know, we used to say in the penitentiary, man, when them cell doors close and you sitting with yourself and you got nothing but you and your thoughts, you and your memory, you know, you're going to deal with it or you're going to forever run from what, you know, plagues you. And that ain't no way to live. So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, this video may not be for everybody. But I know everybody that watches this video can resonate with something that was said, because we only people. You know, we're here, you know, having a human experience. You know, this is the Earth School, where, you know, it's a training ground for you to conquer yourself and evolve the soul. You know, if you know, you know. If that sounds crazy or outlandish or crazy talk to you, then so be it. Hopefully one day you'll get to that level of, you know, understanding, you know, even if your terminology is slightly different, but, you know, it just is what it is, you know. So I'm really not going to drag the video out, man, but, you know, I felt the need to, you know, to make this video because, again, man, through my observation and analyzation, man, a lot of people, some people are terrified, you know, based upon going through whatever it is that they may have gone through, or just so terrified of, you know, being judged, you know, or being looked upon as weird or goofy or something, like whatever the case. You know, they got all kind of different words for the same type shit us old heads, you know, dealt with in the past. You know, it's the same shit. Ain't nothing new under the sun. You know. So, hopefully, man, you know, something that I said or something that I revealed in this video will be of a help to somebody, you know, and the beauty in me making these videos is, you know, you don't have to be in front of nobody to, you know, to concede to any of this. You know, nobody has to know. You don't have to be put on Front Street. You know, if it resonate, then you know you got nothing but time and opportunity to work on yourself. You know, as opposed to being in front of a group. You know, like we used to have to be in the key program during encounter group. You know, and the whole purpose of the key program was to create feelings in an individual so they can develop better coping skills and mechanisms to deal with their life. You know, it's a lot of people, you know, that done decades or they still in there, you know, still in the box based off of crashing out off of an emotion. You know, they hadn't made it to the point where as though their coping skills evolved enough for them to transcend anger, hostility, and violence. You know, they hadn't made it to the point where as though they were able to transcend, you know, the fear of being looked upon in a certain way. It might sound funny to y'all, but trust me, it's a lot of people in there for murder, and they crashed out based off of how somebody made them feel, or something that somebody did in front of people that made them feel a certain way based off of being embarrassed. It's that simple, you know. But just keep in mind, man, before I exit out this video, if a person can control your emotions, then a person can control you. And if it ain't a fact, I'll snatch it back. Trust me. People that know how to push your buttons, they know how to control you. So with that being stated, man, y'all be easy. I hope this video was informative, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Out.